Okay, we're recording. We're recording now. Everybody be careful.
Wait, no. No, I'm kidding.
What?
Please.
So Zoe should be here any second.
Oh.
Vinay, how are you doing? How's your family and everyone?
Okay,
Yeah.
we're okay. Same old, same old. But
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Does
It
it
is
look
what it
like
is.
anything's gonna potentially get better, or is it just sort of it is what it's gonna be?
No, right now we're dealing a lot with POWs that are being
Oh man.
kept and tortured. So
Didn't
it's
the war end? Like, didn't it end?
yes, the word did end, quote unquote.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so they're just dealing with getting people back,
Yeah.
which isn't proving to be easy, but yeah, that's what's happening.
God, I'm so sorry. Malcolm, Zoe's in the waiting room, just FYI.
Okay, thank you.
Vinay, do you know anyone who's a POW?
No, I do not. Although they are circulating videos left and right. So.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
they're posting videos on social media. So
I'm so sorry.
it's everywhere. Yeah, it's very fucked up. But
Yeah.
I've really tried to remove myself the past couple of weeks. I was like, I'm just gonna be mentally unstable if I keep investing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If there's anything that we can do, please let us know.
yeah, thank you. Not much anybody really can do.
So thank you all for joining us again for Act 2, which should hopefully be shorter than Act 1. Thank you. Last time was really, really helpful. I sent everybody a new draft of the script, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And I trimmed a lot out of Act 1. So I don't know if anybody got to go back and look at that, but when we chat later, I'd love to get any thoughts on that. Did anybody have any questions, thoughts, comments, or anything before we jump into Act 2?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So shall we do it similarly to last time? If you're not in the scene, you want to jump in with some stage directions?
Sounds good.
Cool. Awesome. So I guess whenever everyone's ready. Zoe, would you mind reading stage directions for this first scene, just because I think a lot of people are in it?
Yeah, I'm waiting for a contract to come through, but yes. Yes.
I've been there. I've definitely been there.
Yeah, I'm just like waiting in my email, just like staring, but yes.
Thank
Get it. Sorry.
Breathe.
Okay. Yeah, just need a benzo. Okay.
And in this draft, Act 2 starts on page 45.
That, thank you, is so helpful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I had a
Page 46. Okay, here we are. Here we are. Act 2, rabbit hole. Scene 1. The following news article is projected on the back wall. HTTPS:// as it fades.
the computer and slap you.
As it fades, lights up on politician 3. She looks out as if speaking to a crowd or a room of television cameras.
We're all going to die. That's how this ends. We're all going to die.
Lights up on KKK leader, a young man dressed in redneck fashion, wearing Confederate insignia and perhaps a KKK moniker. Perhaps he's even in white robes, holding a hood. He also speaks as if to a crowd or a room full of cameras.
We're all going to die.
No, I guess it was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Never mind. I'm not sure if it was maybe the
Up on
things
a
changed.
looking disheveled, but noble.
Maybe
Wait, let me triple check what I did. So I'm politician 3. Matt, you're the KKK leader.
Sorry.
And
Strike one. That's okay though. I go up to 50, so you're good.
and Omar is
ISIL leader.
ISIL leader. Sorry, Malcolm, I took a part away from you.
Hey, no problem.
But you got a new monologue, so.
Okay.
Sorry, let me find the page again.
Sorry about
Lights
that.
up on KKK leader. A young man dressed in ragneck fashion wearing Confederate insignia and perhaps a KKK moniker. Perhaps he's even in white robes holding a hood. He also speaks as if to a crowd or a room full of cameras.
We're all going to die.
Lights up on ISIL leader, looking disheveled but noble. Like the others, he speaks as if to a crowd or a room full of cameras.
We're all going to die.
I'm telling you now. That's how this
That's
ends.
how this ends. We're all
We're
going
all
to
going
die.
to die.
Well, I don't want to.
I don't want to.
I want to
I
fight.
want to fight.
There's no negotiating.
No putting aside our differences.
They have killed families. They have killed children.
They've killed our sons.
Our daughters.
What they have
What they've
done
done is
is
unforgivable.
You're
unforgivable.
frightened.
You're frightened.
Frightened. Of course.
Of course you are.
Of course you are.
The world is
is
terrifying.
terrifying.
When you have to live
your
life
life
knowing
knowing
you
that
will
you will
die
die
that
any
you could die
second
in a
without
second
warning.
without warning.
Now,
Or now.
or now. A bomb could
A
go off.
bomb could go off.
Someone could open
Someone
fire.
could
Fire.
open fire. Because they hate you.
Because they hate someone near you.
To gain
Gain
To gain
power.
power. Those are not
Those are not good enough reasons to die. They want to destroy us.
They want power over us. We're not going to let them have it.
If the world has to burn, so be it.
We will destroy the fear.
We will destroy the hatred.
We will destroy the terror. We will make good win no matter the cost. Let fear
Let fear unify you.
Let fear empower
you.
Death to Muslims,
death to subversives,
Death to the West.
to immigrants,
to traitors,
To Christians.
to blacks,
To those who do not know their place.
to
To
homosexuals,
homosexuals.
to radicals,
to terrorists,
To terrorists.
to terrorists.
To
to
terrorists.
terrorists.
We
We
will
will
We
save
will
you.
save you.
We will
We
save
We
you.
will save you.
we will
will
save.
save.
We will save you.
Malcolm, I'm going to throw this one to you.
Stage directions. Okay.
Yeah.
The light isolates Ishmael. He's in Istanbul, being interrogated in a small dark room by two Turkish national police officers. Neither are visible to the audience. Neither are visible to the audience, or man one and woman one become them.
I've worked for TAI for a couple months now, ever since I was deported from the United States. I went to the United States as a refugee from Syria after. I'm from Raqqa. My father was a journalist. He was killed by ISIL when they slaughtered all the news reporters. Yes. My family went to live with my grandfather, but almost everyone died when our land was destroyed by a misjudged American air raid.
He's a liar.
You're lying. That's not true.
It is true. Turkey was the one place I thought I could. What do you want? The secure US documents about the incident? I know.
Then you took a job at Turkish Aerospace Industries.
Yes. It was the only job I could get. I have a master's from. It was the only job I could get. I had to do something. I'm trying to survive. I have to have a job, but wages and the cost of everything just goes up. I've just stopped going to the doctor because I can't afford it. I feel like we're all born into some mechanized universe where our lives are just us being sucked dry. They want to get every penny and every ounce of strength they can out of you before you die. And no one gives a damn. There's no joy in the world anymore. It's a factory, a human factory. Is that why I'm here? You think I stole something? I never, no matter how difficult, I'm not. No, that's right. I never.
They slide a piece of paper towards him.
Subverting war materials? How would they? Why would they think?
He looks at the documents, a beat. He's caught.
These bombs were going to be targeted on innocent families. I couldn't. I just made sure they wouldn't detonate. Part of the chemical mixing is automated. I changed the code. I just made them harmless. That's all. Just so no one would get hurt. I did my job. I just, when I saw, I couldn't let.
They move to cuff him.
But it's, I didn't hurt anyone. I just, I was helping. You are the ones who watch people die in the street. Please, I'm sorry. Please, I have to take care of I'll never be able to get a job again.
He pushes the table towards the police and runs out. Act 2, Scene 3. Cassandra wears ripped up jean shorts over torn up aqua tights and an old too big t-shirt. She listens to Green Day's American Idiot through big vintage 80s headphones. She dances almost violently around the apartment as if she's desperate to keep the demons out of her head, and the music and dancing are a kind of magic spell to keep them at bay. She lip syncs to the song.
Cassandra, what are you doing?
My head's too loud.
Cass,
But before he can finish the word, she's pumped up the music, completely drowning him out.
You can dance too if you want.
you have work to do.
She violently turns off the music.
Maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Oh, Cassandra's in pain. Something hurt her. Good. It's going to make for some fantastic art. Keep her in a box and give it a good whack every time you need a new essay or poem or play. Maybe I don't want to be your mouthpiece.
You have a choice. You can always say no.
Do I? They feel like they'll come exploding out whether I want to be their conduit or not. Tell me the truth. Would you care about me, even pretend to care if I couldn't?
Cassandra,
Right? Would anyone?
that's not fair.
You use me.
Cassandra,
Did my father mean it when he said that no one would ever really love me? Don't answer that. I feel like if I trust you, I might end up dead. Have you ever killed anyone? You said you're not tame.
yes,
Yes, you're not tame, or
yes, I've killed someone.
how many? Am I like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and you watch over me until I, die, am eviscerated, and then you move on to the next?
No, that's not how this works. I thought you understood. Nothing ever happens the same way twice.
No more quotes. No one ever gets into Narnia the same way twice. How many someone? Stick to the subject.
You only get to know your story.
That's not true. I see so many things that are going to happen, things that have happened to people.
It's still your story. It's just more footnotes.
On the side of the stage, we see Ishmael and Safa huddled together, hiding in dirt and squalor under a bridge. They haven't eaten in days. Safa's shoes are gone.
How do you do it? Curse them, massacre, or do you just make their brains explode?
You know me better than that.
I wrote Matt letters about the poem that was published, that I wrote it for him about. I never heard back because he doesn't want to write back, doesn't want to feel. You're magical. Why don't you do something? I don't want to be a human. Can't I please be something else?
No.
The closest he ever gets at flat out yelling at her, not out of anger, but a parent scaring a child having a tantrum into stopping.
Stop raving. Get to the heart of what you want to say. Stop being afraid.
Die, aren't I?
Someday.
Don't change the subject.
And what's that?
I'm going to die soon if the story keeps going the way it's going.
Winter appears standing before Ishmael. He's silhouetted. The tableau looks like a scene from a graphic novel. There's an old dead pomegranate lying next to Ishmael. He's been trying to see if there's anything of it they can salvage to eat. Ishmael Hamad?
No, who wants to know?
An admirer. The idiocy to throw away an asset as valuable as you. My name is Julian Winter. Perhaps you've heard of me. No matter.
I've known, always known, but now it's ticking up on me. Time's speeding up. I don't know the details, but I can damn well see the outline. I saw it the moment Matt said, everyone's going to end up dead.
I'm not the police or the FBI.
How did you find me?
And I don't throw away assets. If you were offered the chance to have everything you'd ever dreamed of, what would you be willing to do?
Not sell you my soul, if that's what you're asking. Get out of here with whatever you're peddling, BAME, crazy salesman.
Winter picks up the pomegranate. He injects it with something. It comes vibrantly back to life.
Eventually, we'll be able to do this with large plots of land, farms, people.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
He takes out a tablet and drops it in a filthy puddle of water. The water instantly clears. Winter motions to it. Ishmael tastes it. It's the sweetest water he's ever tasted. He starts shoveling handfuls in his mouth.
What do you want?
Safety. The war.
To end? Such little dreams. Heaven on earth, for real. I won't abandon you. I have a strong coalition. Jack Mitchell, former biochemist for the FBI, Jennifer Schultz, silent partner of CRISPR, Leslie Atkins, and Botros Amari, press and media specialists for the New York Times and the UN, respectively. Everyone with the same beliefs. No religion, just working to elevate mankind without any reason to hate each other. You need a coder. A brilliant coder.
He holds out the pomegranate.
You get one chance.
Yes.
Maybe you're not good at all. Maybe you're like the man with the thistledown hair come to trap me, enchant me. Maybe you are just a voice in my head. The kind that makes you do stupid things, scary things, get me to trust you, and then you're going to tell me to jump out of a window or something.
Drink some water.
Maybe I should never have listened to you at all. Just take my pills and shut up, shut you up, shut up.
Breathe.
You hurt me. Why do you leave me here alone? Why? Why do you tempt me with fairyland and never unlock the gates?
He grabs her and holds her tightly, a parent trying to gently but firmly force an hysterical child to calm down.
If that were true, anything, I would do anything.
Winter pulls out fake papers, passports, birth certificates. He tosses the pomegranate to Ishmael. He grabs it, rips it open, and starts devouring one half.
Ishmael, no! Remember what? Don't eat the pomegranate. She said,
Don't get superstitious on me now.
Ishmael, no! I don't trust him. He has evil ideas.
English, be polite. It's good. We're starving. Maybe I'd like not being hated for my religion anymore. He doesn't say
He doesn't say sexuality.
I've lost everything trying to protect you. I need to look after myself too. Do what you want. This sounds like heaven.
She hands him the other half of the pomegranate. Slowly, he takes the papers from Winter, then he dives into his food. Winter helps him up and leads him off. Safa looks at the half of the pomegranate in her hand. She watches it wither back to its original state. Lights fade on their part of the scene. You leave and I can't follow. It hurts too much. I want the pain to stop. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel anything. I would do anything to make it stop.
Do you? Really?
Yes. No. That doesn't make any sense.
The pain is how you know love is real.
He gets down on his knees, holds her hands, and looks up at her.
I don't love you for your words. I love you for what's behind them. Words are just the language you speak. You aren't one in a series. How could there be a series? I've never talked to anyone on Earth exactly the way I talk to you. You are unique in all the world. And it is that I love. There is something that is essentially you, that would be you if you couldn't write, couldn't speak, couldn't hear, couldn't move, couldn't think. That unquantifiable core of you. I love you. That's why I go away. So you can learn that you exist, that you matter, without the words, without the noise, when it's just you.
I feel like it would have been better if I'd never existed.
You don't get to decide that.
I can't keep fighting.
You can, you must. Like it or not, you are human. And with that pain comes the grace of human things, sleep, food, exercise. You cannot neglect the human things. They will strengthen you.
Will you give me a dream that I sleep for 1,000 years? Do you do human things?
Not exactly. I should think it a lovely thing to sleep. On death and why angels utterly know, but not the ripe peach, a new loaf's billowy curves, nor porridge, nor the tingling tastes of oranges. An angel has no nerves. Here within this tiny, charmed interior, this parlor of the brain, our maker shares with living men some secrets in a privacy forever ours, not theirs. Great is God, who would give a mortal the gift of being a voice for the angels.
It has a cost. I feel so alone. I don't remember the last time someone touched my skin. There are times when I run my hand over my face just to remember what it's like to be touched. I imagine that my pillow is someone's shoulder, my mom's, Matt's, yours, so I can feel like I have an anchor so I won't fall. How strange. Bodies bring us together and keep us locked apart.
He gently touches her skin with his hand. It's like a mother running her fingers over her baby.
What a complicated thing, being embodied. Take your blessings, little one. Today you are alive. Eat, sleep. No one is asking you to fight without being replenished. You are not dying today.
Zoe, do you feel like taking this one?
I can probably do it,
thank
I
you.
think. Yeah. Act 2, Scene 3. News footage is projected onto the back wall.
Today, President Trump signed an order declaring war on Syria and initiating a plan to move 30,000 troops into the area within the next 48 hours. Leaders from all around the world have responded, warning that with such an act, World War III is now an inevitability. President Trump said today, quote, "We're not getting out until it's over. It's us or the terrorists. Only one will be left standing. It's going to be us."
Winter sits in the middle of the Negev desert. The night wraps around him like a cloak. After a moment, Joan of Arc enters, as if she has been wandering through the desert and is in need of a place to rest. She sits a couple of feet away from Winter. She wears well-worn, dirty armor that does not seem sufficient to actually protect her in battle. She has a messy, quickly done boy's haircut, covered by a small, dinged up helmet. Long day. Her face is covered with dirt and she looks tired in the way someone who lives with extreme fatigue is used to, and accepting of exhaustion. There is a nobleness about her despite her weariness and unflattering appearance.
May I play with you?
No, don't pray.
He gazes at the stars. She closes her eyes and mouths a prayer.
What are you seeking?
Strength. For the great warriors to help me.
Great warriors, heavenly hosts to come down and...
Right here in my DNA. The collective power of every human who has ever lived. I want to access it. Have it fill me up with strength.
Are you going into battle?
I have been in one all my life. But the final siege is coming.
Perhaps it is also good to pray for wisdom. I will give you what aid I can.
You are a warrior.
I am. What did you think I was?
A messenger?
I am that also. Are you disappointed?
What's your name?
Jeanne.
Just Joan?
My family called me Jeanette. Some called me La Poussette de Rien, or simply Jeanne d'Arc. It is a utilitarian descriptor. What is your name?
Julian Winter.
Much more enigmatic, perhaps. What is your mission?
To free all the world.
I was only called to free France. I'm sorry for you.
No. I shall be a hero. I shall be like you. Greater. I shall be hailed as a saint.
You have heard of me.
Of course, everyone has. Look at the power I already have. I have called you from the very ashes.
You are quite the miracle worker. Sainthood is a myth that time creates. We have no say in what our myth will be. It's called history. His story, not ours. I am seen as a great martyr. It is a lovely narrative with some truth in it. There is always some truth, but it doesn't do me much good. I'm dead.
There are rewards. There will be.
I was a scared child playing a part, and I wondered sometimes if I wasn't really crazy after all. I still don't know if it was right. Killing changes you.
But you won.
Yes, it is wonderful to win. But you do after, when it's just you and God. God who laid down his life for his enemies.
I don't believe in God.
Yes, you do. You just call him by a different name. You don't like me.
I don't like religious martyrs. Take this land, the Crusades, the Holy War, destroyed it. The center of knowledge, of enlightenment. People like you sent this land into darkness, into the wilderness. They destroyed my childhood. Those like you.
Since Ishmael and Isaac, there has been war. I'm sorry on behalf of Christians for what was done in the name of our religion. You have a right to hate us. But you plan to kill too, in the name of your God, just as I killed in the name of mine.
And I have no God.
You do.
And what is his name?
Julian Winter. People will perform great atrocities in the name of whatever happens to be convenient. Take religion away and it will be something else. Your DNA. Something.
Takes off her helmet. Winter looks at her in disgust.
You don't like me. You think a woman could never truly be called to be a warrior. But if you're wrong.
I'm not.
But if you are. But if I am, this is the wonderful thing about being children of God. We can be just that, children. We can be wrong.
Stop saying God. Besides, to be wrong is to be damned.
Such language from a proclaimed atheist. If that were true, God would be alone in heaven. You cannot stop me from speaking of him. Why don't men feel that women are as worthy? I honestly would like to know. All men I have encountered have been uncomfortable with me.
Women are not biologically as capable. In my company, we can manipulate the very building blocks of humanity to breed out bad, undesirable traits. Illness, mental unfitness, even racial differences to give way to peaceful uniformity. Get rid of gender and sexual variances that don't work towards the advancement of our species. Many trans people are born with abnormal chromosomes, XXY, XXX. Who wouldn't want that corrected? But in all my research, the only genetic benefits of females is their ability to reproduce and their beauty. You cannot make them genetically better without taking those attributes away. Women are a problematic necessity, a one-use device, a lovely use, but singular.
We are all made in God's image. Be careful. When you rejected the least of these, you rejected me also. When you devalue any human being, you also devalue something about God.
Stop saying that word.
He tries to physically shut her up, not necessarily out of anger, but out of a prideful need to prove his superiority. She easily subdues him.
Il y a plus de choses dans les ciels et la terre qu'est-ce que vous rêvez dans votre philosophie. If you want to be a great warrior, you must know your enemy better than you know yourself. But how can you know your enemy if you have no empathy for anyone that is different?
I know my truth. That is all I need. We will win.
Then why did you summon me?
I want an army, not a little girl. I don't want to do this alone.
To live is to be alone. God does not need armies in order for good to win. He needs our hearts.
I will bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. I will destroy the evil. I will win.
The greatest curse God can exact is to say to you, thy will be done. I think when God wants to play a really rotten practical joke on you, he grants you your deepest wish and then giggles merrily when you realize you want to kill yourself. Because that giant thing that was going to provide you with fulfillment has happened and you're still just you. Who is Joan of Arc after England has been defeated? Who is Julian Winter when all those who disagree with you are dead? When it's just you and God and you discover that you are not the same.
I will be rewarded. I will be happy.
I don't think God wants us to be happy. I think he wants us to love and be loved.
You are quite a philosopher.
That wasn't me. That was C.S. Lewis. I'm merely an uneducated girl, but I have thoughts and I am a quick study. What will you do when all your dreams have come true?
What did you do?
I died.
I will not listen. I will not be attacked by...
A woman? You would not listen then to Deborah, to Abigail, because they came in the wrong guise. Oh yes, I know the Old and New Testament scriptures. It's one grand narrative. God, out of his love, redeems humanity over and over, though he has no reason to. Even the people you think should be damned. He comes to them with his arms open wide, and if they are not saved, it is by their own choice. You know, Muhammad's first wife was the leader of the greatest trade caravan in the land. She proposed marriage to him. My accusers condemned me largely because I said I would submit to the will of God before the will of the church. They said the church was infallible and that I was a heretic. Years later, the same church declared that I was unjustly condemned out of political support for English France. Whoops, their mistake. All humans are fallible. O senseless man who cannot make a worm and yet makes gods by the dozens. Montaigne.
What if I am right? Could it not be that your ears are as deaf and your heart as closed as your accusers?
He realizes the flaw in his argument. She is dead. If there is a God, she has seen him. He tries to ignore it.
Tell me something practical.
You must strike at your enemy so fiercely and confidently that they will not be able to retaliate. Do not leave everything to divine will, whatever you prefer to call it.
She starts to go.
And the great saint obeys me.
Remember this, Julian Winter. You wished to see God as I did, but now I know what it truly means to stand in his presence. It is a more glorious and more terrifying thing than you could possibly imagine. I won him France, but I have had to account for each and every death I caused.
Why should I listen to you? You said it yourself. You are a foolish little girl playing the part of the prophet and the messenger, the saint.
You're playing a part too. We have a tendency to become what we pretend to be. Act 2, Scene 4. News footage is projected showing the hunt for Matt. Bylines at the bottom of the screen explain what's happening. SWAT teams break down doors, all to no avail. They can't find him yet. Lights fade up. Everything is dingy and gray, like we are standing in a sewer. Matt is ragged, shivering. He can't go on hiding like this for much longer. He faces Ishmael, who stands in the shadows. Ishmael has gained confidence. There's no stopping him now.
How did you find me?
This is neither the time nor the place to be asking questions. My group saw your, what's the word for it?
My shooting?
Your active heroism. Do you not think that's what it was?
I've just I've never heard anyone else call it that.
You have no idea what you're doing. Will you come with me or not?
I want to know how you found me.
A few of our number are quite good at tech. What? Do you think people like me, all simpletons living in mud huts somewhere? We're not. We know what we're doing. You're more attractive than you appeared in your video. You need a press rep. Images everything. A handsome white terrorist.
I'm not a terrorist.
No, white men never are. A handsome white terrorist is much more empathetic than a brown terrorist. No one contradicts the term with me.
You're attractive.
I never said I wasn't.
No, I just meant
Ishmael
that-
is enjoying watching him dig himself into a hole.
do you actually think I'm gonna align myself with a group like yours? You're the reason I did all this in the first place. I lost someone very dear to me because of an Islamic terrorist.
I thought it was because of the NRA, Republican gunmongers.
Them too.
So everyone's to blame. You killed my family and destroyed my home. Americans did. Are we even then? I'm not Muslim. We're not a religious group. We have moved beyond that. Take all the time you need to process. Your person didn't die because of us.
But you think that certain people are evil.
You don't? I'm going to say something you're not going to like.
What?
Look at the good that happened because of losing someone you love. The evil you wiped off of the face of the earth. You did something no one else had the courage to do. You are a visionary. If we're going to wipe out corruption, let's wipe it out.
Why me? Other than my vision.
Does it matter?
You're trying to recruit me for, well, I think that warrants some.
You're talented. Only someone with your skills can help us do what we need to.
I open fired on an unsuspecting crowd.
You rigged a bomb with such exact precision that it brought down an entire building while still allowing you an escape route.
I need more information.
You know the Matrix?
Yes.
You're surprised I do. Please get rid of your prejudices.
I'm not.
No, of course you're not. You're not a terrorist. You have no prejudices, but all the same.
Don't you hate Western culture?
No. Do you hate me? I hate what the West has done, just as you do, I believe. But you make some good movies. I like French fries too.
The Matrix.
This is the moment where you choose the blue pill or the red pill. Take the red pill.
I go down the rabbit hole.
And you don't come back. You come with me, you get the information. That's the deal. Or you can stay here and starve to death or get shot or spend your life in prison and nothing will change. Hey, trust me. You think you woke them up with what you did? They're celebrating that their political competition has been wiped out. Have you started eating rats yet?
A beat.
You leave that behind.
Matt drops his phone into the water. Malcolm, I think Zoe is in the waiting room.
Oh, okay.
Act 2, Scene 5. News footage is projected on the back wall. The NRA shooter Matthew Turner is still at large, raising questions as to how this young man has managed to evade the authorities for so long. The death count is continuing to rise. For those trying to locate a loved one, please call the number at the bottom of your screen. Safa stands on the edge of a sand dune, the sunset blazing around her. Matt, still looking ragged, stands on the edge of a landing strip. There's a little marsh, and he stands next to the water looking out over the greenery. This is the last time he'll be on American soil. He takes a moment before he follows Ishmael onto the plane off stage.
Dear Mother,
Dear Peter,
I had this awful dream that I was visiting you at work, and all of a sudden some employee comes rushing in saying, there was an accident right where Aviva was working. They think she might be dead. And I started running, screaming for you. I woke up and I realized it was just a dream, and I was so happy. And then I remembered that you were dead. In real life. I started sobbing, and I knew I couldn't wake up from this.
I don't know what I'm doing, Pete.
I don't know how to live in a world where you just aren't. I miss laying my head on your shoulder.
I tried to fight because it was the only thing that kept me, but now I'm sinking. If you were here, you would hate me. I wish it had been me that died. I know that's the chicken shit way out, but I think you would have handled this a lot better. That's an understatement.
Ishmael and I have to
I'm
go.
going away.
We have to let the past die, buried in the sand.
This is so dumb. If you were still here, we might have broken up. You might have left me, cheated, and I'd be feeling exactly the same way I am now. It's sick, but I have to pretend that you would have broken my heart. It's easier if I can be mad at you. I was never mad at you. I would have been eventually, though, wouldn't I? Only it probably would have been about something stupid like you burning the pancakes or not taking out the trash. Don't tell me to man up and stop being it. I know what you're thinking. Would be,
Safa lifts her head toward the heavens.
I can't talk to you anymore. Not where anyone can see.
Don't tell me I'm leaving Cassandra like you left. Only you didn't choose to, and I don't. And don't tell me I need her, because I do, and I'm hurting her.
Would you damn us for needing to survive? If you would, why would you make stomachs and skin and hearts capable of feeling so much pain?
Why did you have to go to that stupid club?
Why didn't you come with us that day?
Why couldn't you have just
Why couldn't you just known the future?
known the future? I won't say I love you again. No, not to anyone. I never really got to tell you goodbye. So this is my fucked up goodbye. Bye, love.
Matt exits. Safa looks around. She kneels.
I will never stop saying it. In my heart. I love Allah.
And then she prays. She prays. You don't have to say all of that. A beat, she finishes, she stands, she slowly takes off her hijab. She's supposed to throw it away. She hesitates. She folds it up and hides it in her pocket.
I will never stop saying it. In my heart. I love Allah.
Act 2, Scene 6. Matt stumbles into a small underground compound. He's utterly exhausted. He's been given new clothes. Ishmael follows, carrying some traditional Israeli clothing. Omar, you're up.
Sorry, I was muted. I said the line, but I was muted.
Sorry.
Change your clothes. I'll get you some food.
Ishmael exits. A beat. Matt breathes. He's down the rabbit hole now and there's no going back. He takes off his torn clothes and puts on the ones Ishmael gave him. A beat. Safa enters.
What's green hangs on the wall and whistles.
Matt turns around quick as lightning. How long has she been there? Did she see him changing?
What's green hangs on the wall and whistles.
I don't know,
A herring.
but a herring isn't green.
You can paint it green.
But a herring doesn't hang on the wall.
You can nail it to the wall.
But a herring doesn't whistle.
Oh, come on. I just put that in to keep it from being too obvious. What did you want to be before this?
I wanted to be an astronaut, go to the stars.
Astronaut.
They're people who go into space to explore.
Did they find Allah?
No, they went for science.
Grandfather used to say science was just another word for looking for Allah. My grandfather had a farm. It had a little garden with flowers and caterpillars. I love caterpillars. I wanted one as a pet when I was little. Ishmael wouldn't let me.
Matt smiles in spite of himself. She's still little.
I don't want to go to the stars. I just want to go to the clouds. When my grandfather was little, his family owned a wonderful white horse. Well, one day he fell asleep under some of the trees, and when he woke up, there was the horse. Only now it had wings, beautiful big wings, and it could talk. And it flew my grandfather up into the clouds, where he said there were the most wonderful trees with fruit sweeter than anything he had ever tasted. And do you know what? Grandfather said the horse never died. Just one day it spread its wings and flew up into the clouds and never came back. But it might someday. I used to climb the stairs on Grandfather's hill all the way to the very top, and I'd look up at the clouds and I would quietly call to that beautiful white-winged horse, "Come back for me." And I would look at the sky so hard, and sometimes when the clouds moved, it looked like a horse was really flying down. But it never was. I like to think, when I die, that great winged horse will come and get me and fly me off to heaven. That's what happened to... I feel like there's a great shadow over the world. Everything's speeding up.
I feel that way sometimes too.
Do you think people as a group are good or bad? I can't make up my mind.
I can't either.
Why not?
I don't know if you can judge people as a group.
What about animals? Can you judge them as a group?
I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't know.
How can you think something and not know why? I wonder, if you want to be good, is it better to know a lot or a little?
I think they can both turn out badly,
Or both turn out well?
I suppose.
Ishmael enters. He's carrying a tray with food for Matt.
Safa,
He tosses her a pomegranate. She throws it down and exits.
so help me. You're going to be the death of me.
She's gone. A beat. Ishmael puts down the tray in front of Matt. Matt sits and begins devouring the food. Ishmael picks up a piece of bread and crosses to the other side of the room, nibbling it as he watches Matt.
So, how good of an engineer are you?
Good.
Then why are you in your 30s and just now working on your graduate degree?
Money.
Your family couldn't help you? Are you close?
No, not really.
Why not?
Does it matter?
We need to know about any ties.
You think someone who did what I did has any ties to their family?
Why did you do what you did?
Because it was right.
Nobody does anything because it's right. They do it because they have a vested personal connection in that right being done. So why did you do it?
Let me finish eating first,
Why?
because after I tell you, you'll probably kill me.
Why would I kill you?
Because my reason is not very in line with purity, historically speaking. This way, I at least got one last good meal. This is really good.
Tell me your reason.
I'm gay. My partner, boyfriend, or whatever you want to call it, died in the Orlando shooting.
I wouldn't mention it to Winter.
Your leader?
Our father, our leader, our everything. He got me. A deported Syrian refugee wanted in 4 countries, and he got me back into the United States without anyone blinking an eye. He can do anything.
Then I don't think I'd get away with hiding it for very long, especially if he's good with his research.
I'm good with mine. I'm here to vet you. He's a great man, but just don't bring it up.
Anyway, I didn't do what I did just to go back and hide in the closet.
It's not like that. He believes sexuality is one more thing that divides us. Homosexuality doesn't contribute to the propagation of species. Breathe it out. The population will never go extinct, and one less difference between us. If it makes you happy, then just don't say anything. We can all have our cake and eat it. Besides, aren't there more important things than your sexuality? We all have to make sacrifices for the greater good.
You're smart.
You're surprised. I'm the best coder in the Eastern Hemisphere. Probably Western too. I have a master's degree in mathematics. I
didn't think education and liberal thinking were high on the list of priorities for a radical jihadist.
am no jihadist. I told you, I gave up my religion to be here. I prayed for my country every day in the name of Allah. Now I act in the name of Winter, his vision. None of us started off as radical anything. We were forced into this to survive. Our goal is to stop oppression, war, corruption.
You don't think homosexuality is corruption?
When your family is being slaughtered in front of you, I don't think it's high on the list of things to put an end to. No. So.
Don't ask, don't tell.
It was your president who came up with that, I believe.
You're very different from what I expected.
So, you're a good engineer?
Yes.
I believe you're a great one. Why did you want to become an engineer?
I wanted to be in the space program, but I have a protonomaly. I looked it up. It's a mild form of colored blindness, so they wouldn't let me get my pilot's license. I decided if I couldn't go to the stars, I could at least help other people get there.
You're lucky.
How is that lucky?
You had a space program you could aspire to. I did not. He can cure it, you know? Your protonomaly, a little injection and your eyes will be perfect. Yeah, he's a saint, the saint of science walking on earth.
Why math?
Now, the Middle East used to be the center of enlightenment. You can thank us for algebra. but no one remembers. I wanted to be a part of that history and to do something, to remind people. You have a good knowledge of explosives.
What do you think? What do you think launches rockets?
You're doing work with nuclear power.
Independent research. How do you know about that?
You're bored in school. You're smart. Do you have a sense of purpose?
Not anymore.
You did?
I don't know. I guess.
With your partner?
Yes. Peter,
And after?
the NRA.
And now?
Winter enters. He's heard just the last couple lines.
Would you like to have a purpose again? We are honored to have you. I'm sure you have questions. They will all be answered. Ishmael has explained our mission.
And I've seen you on TV.
Very poorly represented, I'd gather. We have a plan, specific, detailed. We have the resources to carry it out. What we don't have is someone who can make it happen on the technical side. It's daring what we're proposing. Rebuilding Eden. It's someone great. Like you. Ishmael, you have achieved your task. You have earned your place. We'll start by testing it out on a small scale.
And then,
If it works,
if it works,
We bring peace to the whole world. But I do not ask you to take me on faith.
He pulls out a couple cards.
Boutros assembled a file on you.
He holds up a card.
What number do you see in the circle?
I don't see anything.
Winter and Ishmael look at each other and smile. Winter pulls out a needle and syringe.
May I?
What does he have to lose? Matt holds out his arm. Winter injects him.
You changing my DNA or something?
Yes.
He finishes. He puts the syringe away. He holds up the card again.
6. It's a 6. 6.
If only you'd found me sooner.
What do you want me to do?
Act 2, Scene 7. Cassandra sits cross-legged on the floor. She's wearing a party dress that looks like it was designed for a 6-year-old. Perhaps she wears fairy wings. Matt walks up behind her.
What are you doing, Cass?
I'm imagining you. I insert you into my memories. So when I relive them, you'll always be there too. So I wasn't alone.
He gives her a kiss on the forehead.
Where are we today?
My 6th birthday party. My dad was dating some awful new woman and he wanted to bring her. She was 19. I didn't want her to come. He said if he couldn't bring his girlfriend, he wasn't coming at all. And he didn't. He never showed up.
I'm sorry.
It's my birthday today, in real life. I didn't have a cake or anything, so I thought I should have a cake. I thought I should have a cake, so I remembered this one.
Happy birthday.
You say it like you really are glad I was born.
Did you get what you wanted for your birthday? In real life?
Not really.
What did you want?
My best friend back.
I'm right here.
But you're not really you. You're a shadow.
What games did you play at your party?
Fairy princesses. Where you are you happy?
I'm purposeful, full of purpose. Are you happy?
I think happy is something that other people feel. I don't have a word for it.
What's it like in your innermost mind? I've always wondered. Probably very busy.
No, not really. It's more that I'm too dumb to keep up. What do you think happens when we die? You're not dead, are you? I think I would know.
No, I'm not dead.
Do you think there'll be a large dog like Kerberos?
Maybe. I don't like to think about it.
Why not? It's an awfully big adventure.
No, it's, someone told me about reincarnation when I was a kid. It scares me. You finally get off the ride and you have to get right back on at the beginning. Like you finally get to stop working and feeling, and next thing you know, you're back in kindergarten having to learn to read all over again. Puberty, first heartbreak. I thought I passed those tests. If we have to go through them, don't we at least deserve the reward of never having to do it again?
What if those tests, what if you missed some? What if you wanted to go back and see if you could catch all the things you lost?
I don't think it's like a video game where you might be able to get all the stars and earn all the points or something, and it wouldn't be with the same people. I think you'd end up losing something else in exchange.
I'm a lost girl, Matt. I don't know how to find my way home.
Me too.
Maybe we're all lost. Why don't we talk about it? Because if you're lost together, then maybe you're found in a way. You sounded happy I was born. Why?
Because you're special. I'm not as good as words as you. They don't translate from my heart to my mouth, but you're special to me.
Why?
You won't believe anything I say. There's something you're keeping from me.
Please, let's not spoil it. I want it to be like it was.
But it's not. And it's eating away at you.
How could you do it? I knew you were going to. I tried to stop you, but I never can. I can't stop anything. No one will listen. How could you do something so...
Evil?
Yes.
Are you scared of me?
I can't answer that. I can't answer without hurting you.
Just say it.
Yes. Yes, it made me scared of you, and I hate you for it. And I hate that I could ever use the word hate in a sentence connected with you. It's not okay. What you did was not okay, and I am so...
What?
Angry. I don't get angry, but I am angry at you.
Your father?
Yes, he was there.
I didn't know.
Yes, you did. You just didn't really care. He's dead. You know what's really sad? I'm not even that upset that he's gone. But you know what did get me? I'm an orphan now. I know you don't think about adults being orphans, but I am. I have no one. Because you left too. You were the only person on the face of the earth who I really believed deep in my heart ever loved me. And you took you away. When I said I wanted my best friend back, I didn't just mean I wanted you physically here. I meant I wanted to go back to the way things were before you became whatever it is you are now. I have something I want to ask you.
If your mind, ask away.
Did you kill me?
No.
I don't believe that anymore. What could make you kill me?
What could make you kill yourself?
Answer the question.
That was my answer.
If I had to choose you or me.
I never liked that about you.
I know. The real you, I can't stop feeling like he never really loved me at all. That everything I thought he was a lie, like my dad said.
Do you really believe that?
No, but there's a seed that's been planted now, a thought, and those are awfully hard to kill once they've inseminated themselves.
What I did, I thought it was noble. I took an action. I did something.
That's exactly what the Pulse shooter believed too, all the shooters everywhere.
But they were wrong.
And you weren't.
No.
You're willing to stake your soul on that.
I don't want to have a soul.
You idiot, you are a soul. You have a body. Help me, please. Do something to make me stop being afraid of you. Help us to go back to the way things were, like in the garden, when it was just you and me, and we were sad, but we were also close to happy in a way.
Do you want to play fairy princesses?
She almost smiles
I-
in spite of herself. His answer took her by surprise.
I could be the wizard who captures you. I've always wanted to be the wizard.
An evil wizard?
A single-minded, misunderstood one.
You could play Peter Pan. I could be Peter and Wendy. I never could decide who I wanted to be more.
I wish it too. That you had been there my whole life.
Why did you leave me?
Because I'm a coward, not because I didn't love you.
Is that really true? Or is it just what I want you to say?
I don't know.
Matt forms his left hand into a hook. As Captain Hook,
Now, are you going to walk the plank?
Never.
he chases her around the room. They're playing pretend with the joy and abandon of 5-year-olds. The improv actions and dialogue. Perhaps Cassandra pretends to fly, or perhaps she gets captured by Captain Hook. For a moment, they are completely and utterly happy. Finally, Matt grabs her and they tumble to the floor.
Matt, I'm going to miss you when I wake up.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cassandra. Happy birthday to you.
Cassandra watches Matt exit. Over the following, she comes back to reality. She takes off her dress. She goes to the pages on the floor of her room and starts writing. On the other side of the stage, Ishmael sits alone late at night. He reads The Little Prince.
I made a gesture of weariness. It is absurd to look for a well at random in the immensity of the desert, but nevertheless we started walking. The desert is beautiful, the little prince added. And that was true. I've always loved the desert. One sits down on a desert sand dune, sees nothing, hears nothing. Yet through the silence, something throbs and gleams. What makes the desert beautiful? Said the little prince. Is that somewhere it hides a well? I was astonished by a sudden understanding of that mysterious radiation of the sands. When I was a little boy, I lived in an old house, and legend told us that a treasure was buried there. To be sure, no one had ever known how to find it. Perhaps no one had ever even looked for it, but it cast an enchantment over that house. My home was hiding a secret in the depths of its heart. Yes, I said to the little prince. The house, the stars, the desert, what gives them their beauty is something that is invisible.
When I was little, I remember going to church and hearing my pastor talk about idolatry. I know what you're thinking, golden rams and all that. But that's nothing like what he said. He talked about how all human beings have to worship something. It's in our nature. Some people worship money or power or being married, but I honestly couldn't think of anything. I worshipped more than God, so I would pray every night. Convict my heart, Lord. Convict me of my idol so I may repent. I guess I was expecting the angry hand of judgment to come down or something, but it never did. Then, just a few weeks ago, I had a dream. God was there. I couldn't see him, but I knew he was there, and he didn't smite me. He just took my hand and led me over to this big black statue. And there was a long line of people who would go up to it one by one and offer it sacrifices and pray for things. Please give me money. Give me power. And then I saw myself go up. And I didn't ask for something like everyone else had. I just bowed before it and said, please, just leave me alone. Don't let more bad things happen to me. I give you my thoughts, my anxiousness, my hypervigilance. I will obsess and worry for you. Just please leave me alone. And God said, you've been worshiping fear.
You were waiting for me.
Cassandra stops, turns, and looks at him, confused.
No,
You didn't know it, but you were.
She smiles.
I got the idea for a story all at once on the train today. Someday when it's presented, it will take hours to read. And it all occurred in my head during 2 stops on the train. And I knew the moment I had to get off, it would all vanish. And I would never quite get it back there again.
Are you almost finished?
No.
She pushes her papers away in frustration.
What's wrong?
I'm trying to write about you, but it wouldn't be any good. It wouldn't really be like you. It's the opposite. Oh, I need to take that out. Wow, sorry. I just need to take this out. You will never be as good in my creation as you are right now. No one will get to see you as you truly are.
But there will be a piece of me in it, as long as you attempt it and your heart is in the right place. You've worked for a long time. Put it down.
Right.
Weren't you going to the store?
The post office. I need some. And then I was going to go sit in the garden. I think it's warm enough today. You're not here to help me, right?
Not today.
Then why are you?
To help you go to the garden.
That seems pretty silly. I can walk there just fine.
To spend time with you.
Really?
Yes.
Can we go to Fairyland to really go?
Maybe later.
You want to come to the garden with me?
That's why I came.
Is it now? Already?
Yes.
No, it can't be. It's too soon. Can you give me more hours? I'm not finished.
That's all there's time for.
Where will my words go? All my thoughts, the ideas, where will they go when I die?
There are 2 answers. One is not pleasant. The other is more palatable.
What's that one?
He thinks of how to phrase it then.
Thomasina and Septimus. Nothing is outside the march, so nothing can be lost to it. It will be picked up, found again.
And the other?
There is no one like you in the whole world, and there will never be again. The thoughts will never be the same as they would be said by you.
What does it matter? My whole life's work, a bunch of words that no one will ever see. I thought one day someone might, but I'll probably end up in a landfill somewhere. What if I don't want to go?
You've always had a choice. You'll have to take the consequences either way.
The other Cassandra, I never understood why she walked into that house. She knew what would happen. Unless she just wanted it to be over, but I don't. I'm not ready.
Yet hundreds of years later, you're telling her story.
But it didn't matter. There's not some great moral. Cassandra knew she was going to die. She walked into the house. She died. The end.
I told you once that the only story given to us is to know our own.
Yes.
But that's not quite the whole of it. See, every person has their own story, but every individual tale is a thread in a larger narrative, a master epic. And you don't get the full tale of someone's life until you look at it in context.
The Oresteia.
Would not mean what it does without her.
How do I see the whole narrative?
You can't, right now. But you've had a glimpse.
Yes, the sand.
You didn't understand the military gear.
King George the Curious. It's a small thing.
Large and small are relative terms. With Cell, you are the universe.
Will it hurt?
Yes. Very much. But that's the good thing about dying. It doesn't last forever.
It's not fair.
No, it's not.
Why doesn't some magical person just stop it?
That's the price of free will. Everyone has to live with the consequences of everybody else's choices.
Buoy to free will.
Without it, there would be no real love. The pain is how you know love is real.
Will you stay with me?
Yes. Even when it doesn't seem like it.
I wish I had someone to say goodbye to. There's no one left who knows who I am.
There's me. I knew you. And we loved each other. Is that enough?
Yes, that's enough. She goes and gets a chain. Hanging from the end of it is a pendant with a piece of paper rolled up inside. It's a poem. I wrote it for you. I guess it's the last thing I'll ever write.
He puts it around his neck.
Thank you, dear heart.
I'm not good. I'm not strong enough.
We're just going to the garden, that's all. We're just walking to the garden. We can do that. You've done it 100 times.
I'm scared. What if God is scary? What if he doesn't like me?
What if God is something like me?
Well, I know you. You're Mr. Moon.
And I will never be Mr. Moon exactly for anyone else. We're just going to walk to the garden, that's all. But first, I have a gift for you.
She holds out
She
her
ho-
hand.
No. This is a gift that is given with words. Your father didn't hate you. When he was younger, he used to pray to be an artist, to receive a divine gift, to be able to use words like magic. But that wasn't his story. The look that he got in his eyes, it wasn't hatred, it was jealousy. You were the princess he locked away in a tower because you had what he wanted. You had it as easy as breathing. You were never cursed to not be believed. They cursed themselves to not believe you. Are you coming?
She turns and hugs him. She didn't know she had been waiting all her life to hear that. A beat, then she separates from him and takes a step away, towards the door. He stands behind and watches her.
It's 1,212 steps.
I just have to walk 1,212 steps.
That's all. Simple. You've been practicing since you were born.
Realization.
I have power too, don't I?
He smiles.
How did I never see it before? I will use it to do good now, whenever now is, even if it's a small thing. What a beautiful, terrifying thing to have free will.
Cassandra takes a deep breath, then begins to walk outside. The gentleman, Mr. Moon, stays behind, watching her, then slowly follows her out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. News footage is played against the back wall. We can confirm that there has been a terrorist attack in New York City's Central Park where a bomb went off late this afternoon. Lights fade up on the compound. Matt and Ishmael watch the footage. Matt, frustrated, clicks the footage off.
Security is going to be tighter than ever now. Do you know how hard it's going to be to...
To blow up another park? Yes, but that's not what we're going to do. And it won't just be explosives. Chemical, biological warfare.
Is there a plan for us to stay safe?
There was more in that shot than a cure for color blindness. Congratulations, you have joined the ranks of the superhuman.
Well, we know the calculations on the explosives work.
What did you use? 1/1 millionth of our full capability?
1/1 billionth.
Oh, we're in the New York Times. Well, what we did was 200 people. They even printed their names.
200 people were injured?
Killed. 5,000 were injured. Andre Adam, Amanda Alvear, Cassandra Arway.
What? What was that last name?
Cassandra Arway.
I know her.
I knew a Cassandra. Nice girl. I'm sorry. You knew there would be sacrifices.
Now you don't understand. She was my how? My calculations were precise. The explosion was contained within the designated area.
She was in the park.
But she wasn't supposed to be.
Well, apparently she was. What were you planning on doing when we moved to the next?
I don't know. I haven't even officially signed on to that yet.
You can't feel sad. You figured it out. She didn't.
How could she? You found me. You sought me.
We sought you out because you took a stand against evil.
Things aren't that black and white. She was a good person.
Do you realize who else was in that park? NRA members, white nationalists. If we want to rid the world of evil, there will be casualties. Evil doesn't go down without a fight. You know that. Listen, saints cannot exist in the real world. They are always destroyed.
Aren't there things that are more important than staying alive?
There's nothing more important than the right people staying alive.
How do you know if you're right?
When I was 2 years old, I found a caterpillar. Wonderful, long, black, fluffy thing. I brought it home. I loved that caterpillar. A few days later, we were going to visit my grandfather on his farm. My mother suggested that I take the caterpillar and let it go there so it would be able to live a long and happy life. You can't take care of a caterpillar in a shoebox forever. We got to the farm, and before I was going to release him, I took him into my grandfather's bedroom to say goodbye. He was inching around the bed, and I got curious how far a caterpillar's body could stretch. So I gently picked him up and took one end of his body in between each of my thumb and index fingers, and as gingerly as I could, I stretched him. And then suddenly, he tore right down the center of his body. This square of vibrant red against soft black fluff. And I started crying because I had done something so horrific. I had killed, literally ripped apart a beautiful, innocent creature that I loved. And in that moment, I realized that every human being has the potential for despicable violence, and sometimes it's enacted in the most innocent ways. Saf was the only member of my family left. My entire country was all but wiped off the face of the planet. Every person I ever knew. I know how you feel. You're maybe the first man. If I let the real evildoers continue just to protect someone I care about, is that not evil too?
I'm sorry. I made assumptions about you.
If we all have the potential for darkness, shouldn't we harness it for good?
How do you know what's good?
You feel it.
I don't know if I trust what I feel. I don't want to kill.
Then trust me.
How do you do it? You speak and you make me want to do whatever you say.
A beat. They look like they're about to kiss. Matt lowers his head, not because he isn't attracted to Ishmael, but because he hasn't kissed anyone since Peter and the wound is still raw. Ishmael pauses, then kisses Matt on his forehead.
Aren't you afraid?
Are you?
Yes.
She is gone now. So is Peter. You're free. Because you have nothing left to lose.
I do. My soul.
There is no soul. That empathy you feel, you have to crush it, eradicate it. Otherwise, you'll never do what you have to.
All right.
Everyone,
Everyone.
Act 2, Scene 10. News footage is projected on the back wall. And in just a few moments, President Trump will make a speech live from the mall in Washington, D.C. The president is expected to make passing mention of the recent New York City terrorist attack, but the focus will be more on the greatness of America and the White House's plans to continue the war on terror. Matt stands on the side of the stage. Ishmael sets up a camera. When the camera turns on, the news footage we have been watching turns to static. After a moment, it is replaced by a live feed of Matt. We see him speaking and the projection of him simultaneously.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are broadcasting live via every station, every network, every satellite in the world. This is real. It's time to pay the piper. Human beings are a grievously savage race, and this is the end. Because if you destroy in the name of God, if you, no matter how cleverly disguised behind humanitarianism or religion or safety, or eventually the real God is going to have enough and put you out of business. And today, God speaks. This is the pre-show, giving you time to think on your sins before the main event. And it's quite a main event. You've tried to make people afraid. Well, the time has come for you to be afraid. And Mr. President, we start with you. Donald Trump.
He raises his hand in the air. He's holding a small button.
Sic semper tyrannis.
He pushes the button. Blackout. We hear an explosion. We've just regained satellite control. The stage on which Mr. Trump was speaking has exploded. The arena is pandemonium. This is not a dramatization. This is real. The president is dead. We repeat, the president is dead. We see a montage of news footage projected on the back wall. The attack in DC is quickly eclipsed with the detonation of nuclear bombs all over the world. Cities are being wiped off the planet. Things are happening so fast, there's no time to even speculate on who's behind this, whether this is a calculated event or every country in the world attacking the others. The footage breaks up mid-sentence. End of Act 2. Yay. Do we all want to take like 2 minutes and then we'll reconvene?
sounds good.
Thank you.
What are you doing?
We're on a break.
You okay?
Hey, Gracie. How's school and everything been?
It's good. It's kind of like weird, but I feel like it's easier. I don't know.
Yeah. Weird because it's virtual.
Yeah. But it's like really, I feel like it's a lot easier. I don't know. Probably because like we're always at home and stuff. So, or like most days we're at home.
Have you guys been doing any like virtual theater or anything with your theater department?
We actually had a play and we did it in person, like
Oh,
social
wow.
distance. We obviously couldn't do it now, because like the cases are a lot higher, but we did it back in October.
Oh, wow. How did it go and how were you guys safe doing it?
We did like we had like temperature checks and all that stuff, and we always wore a mask. And then it was outside, and when it was out, like when we were on stage, we didn't wear a mask, but we were all 6 feet apart, and because that's what the sports teams were doing, so we were allowed to do. Yeah.
Valid. Well, I'm glad you got to do that and hopefully,
It was really good. Like I was happy because I wanted like my senior play, you know.
yeah. Well, I hope that things get better in time for you to get to do something at the end of your senior year.
We're supposed to do Newsies, so yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, thank you guys so much. I'd love to get your thoughts. I was making little tweaks as we went through, but in general, I think it ran like a hair over an hour and I was trimming a couple little things. It felt tighter to me than Act One did last time. So I'll just throw that out there. But would love to hear any thoughts that you guys have.
I think like most of the notes that I wrote today are kind of like more like suggestions probably than you know like I'm seeing the problem.
Yeah.
The interrogation scene in Turkey,
Mhm.
I think it might be interesting to hear something in the background. Like we don't necessarily need to see the interrogators, but maybe we hear them speaking in Turkish or like speaking together or something, like just to get the feel that there's something unknown there, you know?
Uh-huh. Cool.
The scene after when Winter finds Ishmael, I don't know, like I felt like it can end on the exchange of papers, like when he gives him the paper and forget about the moment afterwards when he keeps eating the pomegranate. But I don't know if there's a metaphorical visual or something that you or
I just wanted to frame the moment because when they meet Cassandra says, "Don't eat the pomegranate," and Safa's then like, no, don't eat it. Remember that girl said, and Ishmael's like, "What are you talking about? Like we're starving," and he like dives into it, and she won't touch it. So
yeah, sorry, keep going.
Oh no! So just as like an illustration of that moment.
Yeah, and I got that in the lines before. It's just like there's something about the Ismail receiving the papers or the passport that kind of like seals the deal for me, that maybe I'm imagining that if I'm watching it, that maybe that would be the visual that I want to be left with.
Yeah, I'll look at it.
19 and 20 we lost.
A few things. Going off of what we discussed last time, with scenes feeling a little too passive and not active. I felt that throughout the longer scenes today, specifically the scenes with Cassandra. I think what I'm having difficulty with is understanding I'm having a difficulty with Cassandra's arc and seeing where she starts and where she ends, and what these different encounters with these scenes are doing to achieve that. So in that sense, it feels a little bit to me like just her having conversations, slices of her experiences, rather than it moving somewhere. It feels a little bit passive in that sense. And I'm still, this may be your intention. I'm having difficulty still deciding whose story it is I'm following, if it's Matt or Cassandra, or if it's fine that it's a split focus.
I mean, I think at this point it's a communal ensemble story. That
right, it is feeling more and more of that.
Yeah, that it's about a bunch of lives that then are interweaving with each other.
Got it. Okay, noted. I'm finding inconsistency with the research of the group with Ishmael and Winter. It felt like some of the stuff they would obviously know about Matt, but they didn't. And then some things that he's surprised that they know, they do. So I wasn't sure.
Remember which things stuck out to you?
Yeah, like the fact that they don't know that he's gay, or that he says you're a at the beginning when they meet, Ishmael says that they are we know you're so precise with the work that you do, and then later he's asking questions but then he says, I'm really good with my research, but then he doesn't know certain. I was confused about what their level of ability is in terms of researching Matt. At times I felt like they knew.
I'm going to go over and I'm going to clarify it, but I don't think that anything Matt says is taking them by surprise. Like I don't think that Ishmael knows that he's gay. I think it's not just that they know these things about him. He needs to get Matt to a place where he's like willing to share and admit, and like, what's he kind of willing to give up.
Okay.
So let me look at that.
Okay. It came off to me as they didn't know and needed to know.
Sure.
But then at points they did know. So I was like, wait, I thought they would know these things.
The only thing that Ishmael specifically says is we need to know about any ties that you still have. So,
Right.
so that he needs to know for sure that he doesn't have anybody, like theoretically, like what he does with Cassandra of being like, wait a minute, I didn't want her to die, that he can't have any
Right.
connection with that.
Connections. Yes. Okay. There's been so many different versions, so I don't remember if this version is new in this version, but the meeting between Ishmael and Matt,
Mhm.
and that initial, there was a sense of attraction that I feel like may have been added recently. It's some.
No, all that stuff has always been there. The part about you're attractive, I never said I wasn't.
Is there nothing about attraction that's added?
No, nothing that's new.
Okay, maybe just based on where they go, I that read new to me.
Okay.
It sold me a little bit more on later he says, why is it that everything you say I want to do?
Yeah.
Like later in the scene, so that there was a pull to want to go that made me believe why Matt would go.
Good.
And then this just hit me reading or hearing it today.
Mhm.
About Safa, and this may be because we're not reading the Arabic parts. Something about her feels too Western to me.
Okay.
In my first question was, I was like, where did she learn English? I don't know if that ever is brought up.
Her mother was a translator. So
Okay.
earlier on, they both speak English well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is just me. Something about her essence feels so comfortable in a modern sense, in like a, I don't know how to articulate that. She feels like when I emigrated to a new place, I felt there was something that didn't fit. She fits in a way that to me feels wrong. I don't know how to adjust that.
Are sticking out to you in that sense? Any specific moments or specific things that she does or says?
Maybe the fact that there isn't anything that sticks out, like it's a very flowy experience for her. It feels very easy. Something about it is too easy or too smooth, if that makes any sense.
Specifically, is it specifically when she's dealing with a Western environment, or just is she feeling Western?
Yes.
She's in
Yeah.
Like
in the
you mean in
conversations
this?
go ahead, sorry.
No, sorry, you finish your thought.
The scene with, I think the thought popped in my head when she was having the long scene with Matt, the conversation with Matt.
Oh,
and I was like,
no, that's not a conversation with him. It's like a split screen. They're in two different places. She's back.
not the letter one.
Oh, okay. The
second one.
Got it. Okay.
Take it or leave it. Just the thought about her being in a new environment and at that young age, she feels a little comfortable for me.
Okay.
And that she may be, but that just stuck out to me, so I wanted to bring it up.
So Vani, I was just curious, like when you say comfortable or like that she has it easy, is it you're speaking specifically about like adapting to being in a new place? Okay.
Because that scene with Matt, she's not in America. They're in, gosh, where are they specifically at that point? They're in, I think, the Israeli border at that point in the compound with Winter.
Yeah, because Ishmael gives him Israeli outfit.
Yeah.
It's not a U.S. versus. It's just a person being an outsider in a space comment, I think.
Okay. Do you think the language is a large part of that?
I think so. I think that would.
Although to
Yeah.
that point, to Vanessa's point, I will say that if I didn't get that they are in Israel, I actually made a note about like what is with the Israeli costume.
Yeah.
And to Vanessa's point, if they're in Israel, given the Arab-Israeli conflict, I think that she would even be more uncomfortable being there than she would be in the United States. Like basically, FYI, like even though Egypt and Israel have diplomatic relations, if I was ever to go to Israel, I will probably be interrogated by not the police, the National Security Office and the National Security Bureau, and I will definitely start having a profile there. So even though there are
With Iran, yeah.
and Syria and Israel, they don't have, to the best of my knowledge, they don't have diplomatic relations.
Yeah. I mean, in my head, they're in like a secret underground compound that like the government doesn't know anything about. And she and Ishmael and some other people were spirited there along with Winter, like in the middle of the night some night. So it's not like she's necessarily walking around in Israel. She's like been stuck in a bunker for like however many weeks, and only seen the people there. But that's good to know. And let me look at it and see what I can do if I can.
And like I didn't necessarily get the same vibe that Vanny did, but I'm thinking out loud, like if it's maybe something that can be like highlighted in the performance, that like she's distressed, like or stressed out or exhausted or something. I don't know. But
I think the English may also just
be a
be throwing
factor.
me off because
Yeah,
she's
that's
so comfortable with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't feel like it's an inconsistency in like the writing, in the sense that she's already been established as very I don't know how to, it's not naive, that's not the right word. I don't even know if outgoing is the right word, but it's in tune with how her personality's been established. But I also see what you mean. I think it's just an issue of direction and setting that into the scene, because I don't think it's out of line with how her character has behaved previously in like foreign locations. But I also see what you're talking about at the same time.
That's what I had for now.
Yeah, thank you.
There is something also that Vanny said that reminded me of two notes that I wrote about like longer scenes, specifically the Jean of Arc and the Mr. Moon scene before they go to the park. These two scenes, like today, like I don't know, like I think they're too long. I think they need some trimming. I think like kill your babies sort of note. But in Jean of Arc, I will say that I would much rather it be shorter so that it keeps me wanting more. Because the character is interesting. The character is like this is I think that's the first scene when we see one of the historical characters, right? And I would much rather the scene finishes and me being like, oh, I wonder if Jean of Arc is going to come back, as opposed to me knowing that the character served its purpose, like that scene had its sort of resolution, the Mr. Moon and Cassandra scene when she goes to the park in the end, I there isn't anything in specific that I have in mind, a direction to make it shorter, but I don't know. I feel like
I get it. I get that this stuff needs to be trimmed.
I think the scene right before that, when Cassandra's imagining Matt,
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily think that it needed to be shorter, but the thought that really popped into my head was, why is she imagining Matt? Like, is she, because there is a point when she wants to have a fight with him, and then there's a point when she's kind of like playing friends with him. So, I'm not suggesting something. I'm rather asking a reasonable question of why do you think she is imagining Matt? Is she angry with him? Because like, if she's imagining him because she misses him in an angry way, and like she wants to fight with him, the beginning of the scene doesn't necessarily deliver that to me.
I mean, I think that she's in a not great place, and she wants to, at least in her mind, sort of remember the good old days, as it were. And then he kind of keeps forcing the point that there's something else going on that she's like blocking out, and then she's sort of forced to deal with it a little bit. But I'll look at it.
Yeah, it reminded me of a scene in Angels in America when Pryor imagines a version of Lewis.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I got from that. So
it's
yeah.
like the imagined person isn't cooperating.
Mm.
And then I had another note. It's a minor note. The use of the word Allah. I don't know. Like, I feel at least in Egypt, and maybe it would be different in Syria, but at least in Egypt, no one refers to God as Allah as much as they use the word God.
So I don't remember who I heard it from, somebody who is Muslim, that I heard that they don't use the word God, that they only say Allah, and they don't say like in the Christian tradition, you might say he, referring to God, and that's not something that happens.
Yeah, I don't recall hearing or saying he in reference to God. Maybe it's different from one country to the other, to be honest. I'm not sure, but I definitely know that in Egypt, people would normally say God if they're talking about God.
Mm-hmm.
If they're praying or if they're reading, then the word Allah is used a lot. Reading from the Quran, sorry, then the word Allah would be used a lot.
In Arabic, is there a separate word for God that's not Allah?
Rabbana, which means God.
Okay. Would you mind just emailing me that word?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
But yeah, like, there's something that whenever I hear or read Allah in an English play or novel or whatever, is that I feel, an English written, not English as in British, but it to me personally, this is just my personal opinion, is that it feels or it reads as if like it's confused with the use of the word Jesus in Christianity, while in I don't know, maybe I can ask a couple Syrian friends if they normally in their normal dialogue.
There is also a separate word for God. If you could just email that to me, that would be really helpful, because
Absolutely.
I think I had a misunderstanding about the usage of the word. So thank you. Are you guys feeling at this point like there's no reason for Cassandra to be in this play? Because for me, there's a strong reason for her to be there that I feel mainly clear about, but this keeps coming up as a thing. So I want to make sure that she gets addressed as a character, because I don't think that this would be the same play without her in it.
I still I still feel like there is a connection with her and Matt. That connection works. Her with the gentleman character and the Mr. Moon character, that feels separate from the rest of everything else.
Right.
That's where, for me, I'm having difficulty seeing the connections, where it feels like a little bit like we veer off to a separate play. And then when she's with Matt, that I don't have issues with. That feels connected. And then, you know, all the other interweavings. So with the gentleman character, those are the specific moments where I don't know. I have a little bit difficulty with those particular scenes with her.
Because I mean, what the point is meant to be, and I don't know if this is something that would be helped by seeing it live or whatnot, but all of the G characters are meant to be the same character. So theoretically, if you imagine one person playing all of those characters, it's meant to explore different people's relationships with God and how that manifests. And Cassandra happens to be the one in this group that has the most, I mean, it might be a little wacky in some ways, but the most personal daily relationship, which is different from what other people are experiencing. But I'm trying to use those collection of characters as a single character to represent how these different people have, what their own personal interactions and connections with God in a way are. And I'm not quite sure how to connect that more, or to make that clearer, or to make it feel more unified.
Yeah, I know you talked about the G characters being God and being and I don't know, to be honest, I don't necessarily get that. I haven't been getting that other than from our conversations, and I'm not entirely sure how it can be changed. I don't know if it, but also like making them into one character is not necessarily a solution. This is my design brain thinking out loud, is if it's something that can be solved with costumes or something.
I mean,
but
in my head, they're all, I mean, clearly with some specific differences, you know, the girl and the gentleman are not going to be wearing literally the same thing, but that they're all wearing something that ties them together, that pretty much everybody in the play plays one of those characters at one point for somebody else. I'm not sure. I mean, it's really important to me that that be clear. And I'm not sure on the page what to do to help that be clearer than it is.
I think that the fact that you want them to be the same entity, that's not necessarily going to be an issue once this is put up.
Right.
I just don't I'm having difficulty still with the essence of the scenes. It's not, I don't think it's about.
Okay.
Let me think and see if I can clarify a little bit more about what I'm trying to articulate.
Okay.
Okay, I'm thinking out loud again here. And Vani, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you if you.
No, I'm
if
done.
you
I'm
were
done. Go
ready.
ahead.
Okay, all right. I'm thinking out loud about like maybe the reason why this is not delivered is because the relationship of the characters to the gentleman, the grandfather, the gourd, the gloriosus, and the girl, the relationship between the characters to these 5G characters varies, as opposed to in general people's relationship with a god
Right.
is normally has some sort of a unified parameters or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm thinking out loud, really.
I mean, for me, it's specifically the you know, what people's personal relationships are, you know, when they go home and it's not necessarily like in a group place of worship or something like that. Let me think about it. Let me see what I can do.
But going back to your question about Cassandra, I don't think that that's my personal opinion. I don't think that she needs to be taken out of the play, you know, and I don't think that reducing her character to be Matt's friend will make me very much care about her when she dies, as opposed to she being a main character in the play that, you know, like when she dies, you know, because like, yes, I mean, it wouldn't be so much of a shocker when Matt accidentally kills someone from his loved ones, but because she is a main character in the play, as an audience member, I think I'm bound to be shocked and be like, oh fuck, you know, what's Matt gonna do now?
Side note, I don't know if it helps. I like completely rewrote the first Cassandra gentleman scene in the first act after our last reading. So that scene has changed an enormous amount. So I don't know if the setup of that would help anything, but I'll continue to look at it.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other general things that anybody had? Nope, that's all I have. Zoe, what did you think?
I liked it. I mean, I enjoyed it. I really did. I was going to take notes and I was like, I wanted to like actually enjoy it and like hear it, just like, cause I'm so happy that we're reading it out loud, because I read the script itself separately.
Right.
And hearing it is so different.
Yeah.
I'm in the same place with Omar with Cassandra, sorry, Chicago. And I'm interested in reading the Act 1 scene now.
Yeah.
Just because I'd like for that to give me context to where she is now in the plan, if that changes it. I'm here for the ride, you know. I'm enjoying it. I'm excited for Act 3 next week.
Yeah.
I'll probably have more thoughts after that.
Okay, well, let me look at this stuff this week, and I'll probably do some more rewrites, and I'll send you another draft, which again, I don't think I'm going to make a bunch of changes to Act 3 at this point. It's also the shortest of all the acts at this point too. But cool. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for giving so much of your time and energy and dedication. It really means a great, great amount. Yeah. How's everyone doing? Like as people?
It is what it is, you know?
Cool. Well, thank you. And thank you.
You guys are both in LA. I just realized that. You guys are both in LA.
Jeremy, are you in LA?
Yeah, I am. I'm with family in LA right now.
Oh, where are you?
Go see each other.
I'm in the Valley.
Oh, so far away.
Where are you? Where are you?
Santa Monica.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, great.
Where are you in the valley?
Like Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we're not too far, you and I. I'm like a little bit south of West Hollywood.
Let's put it on.
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
put it on in person.
I'll travel anywhere. I'll go anywhere in the country. On the rare occasion I go abroad, I always find people who know Southern California like the back of their hand. It's the weirdest thing ever.
That's so weird.
So this is one of those moments.
Also a big.
Is LA technically Southern California? Like I know that it's closer
It
to the
is.
south than the north.
It is
Yes.
the epicenter of Southern California.
So it's not mid California. So wait, is there just
No,
like
it's
northern and
southern.
southern? Or is
Zoe.
it- What? I'm genuinely asking.
No,
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 there's
refers to like middle California.
Yeah, LA is very
Yeah.
southern.
You want to hear a really
yeah,
interesting story?
Yeah.
yes.
My second at NYU. Now, keep in mind, California, like we all know, it's a huge state. Like
a
it-
country.
Oh god.
it's a big state. So like if you're in California and you were like, I'm gonna go drive to Nevada, that's like a multi-day, like serious road trip.
Yeah.
It's a really big thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in my dorm at NYU. It's like my second week there. And it was like a Sunday afternoon. And I like said to my roommate, I'm like, oh, what are you going to do today? And she's like, oh, I think a friend and I are going to drive to Jersey. And in my head, like driving to another state is the equivalent of like being in California.
A
And like,
14-hour drive. Yeah, exactly.
don't you have class in the morning? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, it's like 3:00. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, you really think it's a smart idea to be driving to another state and have to be back in time for class tomorrow? And she literally like took me to a window and was like, Ashley, that's New Jersey. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
We were like at UCLA.
Oh my god.
He's like, oh, we're driving to Vegas and we'll be back in time for class tomorrow. You'd be like, I think you've had too much to drink. So
Yeah. I remember I in college I had a job in New Jersey
mhm.
and I was at NYU.
Jeremy,
And I
Jeremy,
remember
no,
part
no, no, hold on. No. Jeremy needs to give context for what
No, I
job
don't.
he had in New Jersey.
Right.
Yes,
It was
you
at-
do.
it was at Medieval Times.
Tell them why
Anyway.
he had a job at medieval times. That's why he
I
had a
was
job.
just a humble food server.
Okay.
However, they did interview me to be a squire.
Wait. Hold
So
on.
that was
Hold on.
interesting.
Jeremy had like he literally took a bus to go say in
Yeah.
person, I want to work for you
Yeah, all right.
medieval time.
All right.
They have
We
really
don't need to get into the nerdy stuff, but yes, it's great. I love that place. I mean, it's a horrible company to work for, but I still have childhood nostalgia for that place.
His
Anyway.
dream is ruined.
Anyway, I remember thinking, oh, isn't it thrilling? After I finished class, I go to New Jersey. Like I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, but that's just totally normal if you live on the East Coast. So yeah.
poor Malcolm. He lives in Jersey normally, and he
Oh.
and I did a show off Broadway, and he had to commute into the city in winter for like 8 a.m. rehearsals.
Oh,
And I was like,
and you don't know if there's going to be the cancellation or delay.
Yep.
If you take public transportation. Yeah.
Gracie lives in Jersey, and you've had to commute
That's
in plenty of things.
I know, yeah. My dad did too, but obviously not anymore.
Yeah,
have-
so when you turn on your camera, it was filled with what you're talking about, Jersey behind my back. Anyway,
Gracie, have you got any more college acceptances yet?
My top school comes out next Friday, so we'll see.
Will you
Wait,
message-
what are your options now?
Auburn, Alabama, and TCU. And then I have like a few others, but
What's your top choice?
TCU.
I'm sure you're gonna get in.
yeah, I know people who went there and they have great
Oh.
things to say about it. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I really liked it when I visited.
When you hear.
What?
Message me when you hear next
Oh,
Friday.
sorry. Okay, cool. Yeah, I will.
What state is that one in again?
Texas.
Oh,
It's in Fort Worth, yeah.
you're gonna be right near where Malcolm is now.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow. I had no clue that Malcolm was in this.
Yeah, he's in
Are
Texas.
you guys all in California? Wait, where are you, Gracie?
I'm in New Jersey.
Jersey, were you listening?
Calm down. Yeah,
Um,
but I was like falling in
She's
my.
so blown away by my text, Jeremy, that she needs some time to come down.
I know.
What
It's
part of
true.
Jersey are you in?
I'm in Summit. If you know.
Amazing. Yeah. End of the train line.
Yep.
Amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you all very much. And next week we will do Act 3. And I
Yay.
will do some rewrites. So, thank you. Let me know if you need anything, and thank you all again for everything. And Zoe, let's touch base at some point.
Yes, I'll text you times like almost immediately after this, probably in 10 minutes.
Awesome. Well, I love you all, and thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'll talk to you
All
soon.
right, see you guys next week.
Have a good rest of your weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.